Hey, what's good? Max Charlebois here, aka MissedThePart. On today's episode of our Ideas to Reality series, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite what ifs that I've ever made. This what if is based off of episode 5 of MCU's What If series. Now, let's do a brief recap of what happened in that episode, shall we? In the MCU's What If episode 5, we see that Hank Pym brings his wife to the quantum realm, but she's infected with the zombie virus, and the virus ends up infecting the world. Most of our heroes are lost to the zombie virus, and in the end, a disembodied Scott Lang, Black Panther, and Spider-Man are humanity's last hope. However, the episode ended on a serious cliffhanger, which prompted to me continuing some sort of sequel to that various episode. I really wanted to write a sequel. I was like, why could you just end it on that? There wasn't really anything after that. So I was like, we gotta do something here. Now, if you haven't watched the What If, I will be leaving a link to the video in the comments below, so do well to watch it so that you can fully understand this breakdown. However, if you don't have time to watch it, it's no worries at all. I'm going to give you a brief summary of everything that happened in the storyline. So in this What If, it begins with Vision committing suicide, and Hulk fighting zombie Scarlet Witch, so that the other three heroes can escape on the Quinjet. During the fight with the Scarlet Witch, Hulk wins, but he is immediately turned into a zombie. Our changes begin with Thanos, who immediately realizes that his Black Order isn't back from the invasion of Earth, and decides to pay a visit to Earth. There, he encounters and fights the Marvel zombies. Similarly, he kills Hulk and a horde of the other zombies, but not without getting infected. Now, I really wanted to write in Thanos getting infected so we see what kind of led up to that point with him becoming a zombie. Before Thanos is turned, a zombie Hulk follows the Quinjet and breaches Wakanda's security system, allowing Wakanda to be invaded and attacked by the zombies. Black Panther, Spider-Man, and Ant-Man struggle to understand the Mind Stone they have obtained from a deceased Vision, so that they can use it to cure the world of the Marvel zombies. Zombie Thanos becomes a massive threat, effectively killing Ant-Man and Black Panther before he could finish off Spider-Man. The Guardians of the Galaxy arrive with Thor, and they attack Thanos alongside Spider-Man. In the end, zombie Thanos is killed by Thor, and Thor uses the Infinity Stones to eradicate all the zombies in the world, dying in the process. The story ends with Spider-Man harnessing the power of the Time Stone to reverse the zombie apocalypse and end the zombie threat before it can even happen. Now, writing this was a very interesting thing because it was fresh, it was new. I was excited to get into this as a writer and really dive into this particular cliffhanger. My first goal for this What If was technically to continue a story that I believed was unique and quite unfinished. It was sort of mimicking an if I had written a sequel kind of thing, but I had instituted some major changes to be able to tell my story effectively. What major changes occurred? Thanos' transformation. In the original What If episode, we see that Thanos arrives at the end of the episode already a zombie, and with the 5 Infinity Stones at his grasp. However, in my episode, Thanos doesn't become a zombie right away. Instead, he attempts to be a savior of the world, fighting off as many zombies as he can. Immediately he arrives, however. He gets turned in the episode, and we get to see how much more of a threat he is. The Time Stone. In the original episode, a zombie Thanos arrives with 5 Infinity Stones, ready to war. However, in my episode, because Thanos had come to Earth immediately after sacrificing Gamora, he didn't have the time stone on him. Instead, he gets the time stone when he is fighting Spider-Man. Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy. In the original episode of What If, Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy were merely mentioned. However, I thought it was kind of fun bringing in Thor to the final fight, and having him defeat Thanos in the end was a sort of epic thing for me. I really wanted to dive into that really interesting aspect of, Thor, he still wants revenge over Thanos for killing his brother Loki, so I thought, since these characters are technically still alive, they don't know what's going on Earth. Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy show up. I think it was a very cool thing that they're still together, because Thor would eventually find Star-Lord and the Guardians if Doctor Strange and Tony didn't find them first. So I thought writing that would have been definitely interesting. Thanos. Thanos is probably the most important character in the What If episode. He starts off as a conqueror of worlds and enters Earth with the intention to get the stones. However, his mission changes the moment he faces the zombie threat. For a brief moment, Thanos is on the side of the heroes, and I wrote this intentionally, and he assists them to eradicate the zombies. Of course, this is until he turns into a zombie, and he becomes even more of a threat. However, Thanos is a different kind of zombie. While zombies are moved by their hunger, Thanos is still moved by a zeal to obtain the Infinity Stones, that he is able to view his hunger as a supplementary need. Perhaps his need to eradicate a third of the world's population even beats his primary need, which is to feed. Spider-Man. At the beginning of the episode, Spider-Man, Black Panther, and Ant-Man are the only ones left on Earth, as the fate of the world depends on their shoulders. However, by the end of the episode, Spider-Man is the last hero left of the Avengers, and had witnessed all of the Avengers die. My goal for making Spider-Man a main character was more like to play on a younger generation witnessing the end of an older generation thing. In this episode, Spider-Man has grown up quickly and doesn't have the luxury of time. He had witnessed a zombie invasion and also gets to witness the death of every person who have saved the world, leaving him as one of the only few who can tell the story. Now, if you ask me, that isn't a decision a child would take. It's a decision for a mature hero. Thor, in spite of being introduced around the concluding parts of the episode, Thor has ranked as one of my top main characters in the storyline. Why, would you ask? Well, Thor is able to first off fend off against the zombie Thanos, as we see within the episode. Thor is still driven by revenge, and he intends to cause Thanos pain for the loss Thanos had caused him. Observing characters, Thor is necessarily concerned with the zombie apocalypse until after the death of Thanos, who he kills by beheading him. Beheading Thanos was kind of like a nod to Avengers Endgame. Besides, zombies cannot be killed until they are detached from their brains, or their brains are completely destroyed. The most intriguing part for me was having Thor using the Infinity Stones to eradicate the zombie menace in the world. Dying in the process, to me, it felt like he deserved a hero's rest. Given he already lost so much beforehand, I thought it would be perfect if Thor was the one to eradicate the zombie plague once and for all. To me, the first major event was the transformation of Thanos into a zombie. It was quite exciting to see how Thanos fought the zombies, only to succumb to the virus in the end. Moreover, his transformation is set in motion, and it sets in motion a different chain of events, which puts the world at an even more endangered state. Thanos was already much of a threat when he was just a Titan. Now imagine Thanos as a zombie Titan. The scene where Thor puts on the Infinity Gauntlet and eradicates all of the zombies in the world is quite an intriguing one for me. When I got this idea, I believed it was pretty cool to have an original Avenger perform the snap, just as it had been in the original films. And here, The snap is more like an event of mixed feelings. When Thor snaps his fingers, his first intention is to cure all the zombies in the world. That's seemingly a noble cause, right? Well, however, Thor realizes that curing the zombies would be impossible at this rate, and resorts to doing the hardest thing that he could have thought of, sacrificing the zombies for the sake of what was left of the world. It's also very nice to see out heroes in sort of a crossroads for their morality. Here, Thor had to choose between saving those fated to a miserable life of hunger and rest of humanity, and he chose humanity. It's like an emotional win-lose situation, only that Thor would not have faced the consequences of his actions, as he died soon after the snap. The ending scene has a twist to the end. I'm not sure many fans were expecting. I personally did not think of the twist until when writing the script for the episode. In the ending scene, we see Spider-Man learning how to use the Time Stone, determined to reverse time and ensure the zombie apocalypse never happened. This scene aimed to show Spider-Man's growth and resilience. It also aims to show that after all, hope was never truly lost. I really wanted to keep that clear while writing this particular story, and that's why I thought we're gonna do an end credits scene here. If there's anything anyone should hold on to, it's a dire situation like a zombie-ravaged world. It's hope. Alternatively, I would have liked to explore some alternate amazing routes. Let's look at a few of them here, shall we? First on the list, I would have not made Thanos turn into a zombie. It would have been amazing for Thanos and the heroes to call a truce, all united for a common goal: eliminate the Marvel zombies. It would have been interesting to see how Thor would have dealt with this truce when he came to Earth. Maybe his rivalry with Thanos might have even cost him a great victory. Zombie Thanos versus Zombie Wanda Maximoff. Achieving an epic fight just like this would be quite amazing to write and pull off. In the fight between Hulk and Wanda, Wanda would simply need to kill the Hulk, and she would alternatively follow the Quinjet to Wakanda. Here, she would battle Thanos and perhaps infect him. With this, infecting him, it would be pretty nice to see how Thanos would face off against Wanda, even as he battles with this hunger. While we can assume that Thanos would win the battle because of the Infinity Stones, the fight would have been amazing to witness within the episode. A different ending, Spider-Man deciding to reverse the entire zombie saga, is indeed a brave thing to do. But even as the episode ends on a cliffhanger, we can assume that there are other things that could go wrong with something like this. What if Spider-Man would end up unleashing a new, improved version of a zombie apocalypse? Instead, it would have been a safer bet to have the episode end on Thor's death, with the survivors grasping on the way forward in their ravaged world. Now, that is going to be the end of this idea to reality video. It gives you a lot of insight on my what if Marvel's what if zombies. And a lot of people have always wondered and questioned me about certain things. That particular episode, there was a lot of mistakes within it. And I do want to say, if you end up going back and witnessing and rewatching that episode, it's a very interesting episode, as it's one of my first ever what ifs that really gained popularity on the channel. And I think giving some insight on why I wrote it when I did, I was very excited at the time. And being a new writer to this and really writing fan fictions was something that I wanted to do, but I didn't know how I wanted to do that. And so to break this down into digestible bites really showcases like, this is what we can achieve on the channel. And back then, that was such an interesting video. Like, it's happened so long ago. It would be really interesting if there was a part 2, like what would happen with Zombie Hunter Spider-Man with the Time Stone. But that being said, my fellow watchers, if you guys do enjoy these videos, do make sure to subscribe, like, share, and turn those notifications on so that you and your friends are all up to date with the latest content. I also do want to say, if you would like to be featured within this series, do make sure to comment down below your comments, as there will be a segment within these videos that showcases a bunch of these comments to the general audience to see what they would have thought. So again, it gives you an opportunity to be featured on the channel, and I just love to give back to the community. But again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.